Welcome to my colonoscopy. Yep, that's me, sleeping like a baby. I'm getting my colon checked to try and prevent colorectal cancer. And in this video, I'm going to help explain the whole process to you and hopefully make you feel a little bit more at ease about getting your colon checked yourself. Colonoscopy is a very helpful procedure and it's not scary. We're here to check the colon, which is also known as the large intestine or large bowel, so that we can prevent you from developing colon cancer.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steven Serrades. I'm a colon and rectal surgeon in Peoria, Illinois, and tomorrow I'm having my colonoscopy for the first time. Working with the American Cancer Society, we thought it would be a good idea to videotape the process and maybe help dispel some myths, provide some information, and kind of go through the process of what it's like getting ready for and having a colonoscopy. A colonoscopy is an exam using a special camera with a light source at the end of it on an elongated tube that extends through the colon to look for anything that could become cancer. Typically we're looking for polyps and trying to remove them before they become cancer. Reasons for colonoscopy are many. Many people get them because they're having symptoms such as bleeding or changes in their bowel habits or constipation. But not everyone should be waiting until they have symptoms to have a colonoscopy. And so the main push is for people to have a screening exam. Screening means looking at the general population and trying to find things before they become a major problem. And so with colon cancer screening, the American Cancer Society has recently changed their recommendations and updated them for the general population. And so whereas before age 50 was the recommended starting age, now we like to have people screen for colon cancer starting at age 45 unless they have features that put them at increased risk, such as family history of colon cancer and polyps, inflammatory bowel disease, personal history of polyps and colon cancer, and other symptoms such as bleeding. For this, we're mostly going to be focusing on screening. There are other options for screening for colon cancer. You don't have to have a colonoscopy. There are tests that can be done on the stool that are looking for blood or other indicators of polyps or cancer, and you certainly should and can ask your doctor about those other options if you do not want to have an invasive procedure. There is a CT colonography test that can be done and other x-ray tests that can also be done. Some of those tests also require preparation of the colon, meaning cleaning out the colon the night before, which we'll go through in this video. Some of those tests do not. Some of those tests involve sedation and some do not. Here we're going to focus on screening colonoscopy and what that process is about. If you have questions about any of the other tests, please refer to other resources that are available and ask your physician. In order to have a successful colonoscopy, the doctor performing the procedure has to be able to see clearly all walls of your colon on the screen. And so for that reason, the colon has to be cleaned out. And obviously that's the part that most people hate the most about going through the colonoscopy. The procedure itself, you actually get sedation, and so most people don't remember that part. This is the part that most people remember. In order to keep the colon clean, one of the parts that is essential is not eating solid foods, anything with roughage components, or anything with red coloring or dye the day before, so that it can help keep the colon free of any debris so that we can see polyps clearly. And so that means being on a clear liquid diet, typically starting the day prior to your procedure. And so today I've been focusing on eating broth, and that's what I have here. Although it's not extremely yummy, it's enough to get you by through the day. And cheating really doesn't help you out, because if you do get to your procedure and the physician can't see, they may cancel your procedure and ask that you come back another day. So it's more of a hassle to not do it right than it is to try and cheat a little bit. And so I didn't cheat today. I've got my broth here. We're fortunate enough in our community to have a retailer that focuses on making homemade broths, but You can use store-bought over-the-counter broth as well. Jello is also acceptable as long as you're not using the red-colored dye. And focusing on things that you can see through, coffee and tea are okay as well. Cheers. And now for everyone's favorite part. The night before the procedure, you're typically instructed to start doing the bowel preparation sometime in the afternoon, late, or in the evening. Some bowel preparations recommend doing a split dosing, and what that means is taking part of the dosing the night before the procedure and part of early in the morning in the procedure. My instructions were to do part of it starting at 7 p.m. tonight, which we'll do now, and then the other half of it to do again at 6 a.m. in the morning before my procedure. There's different types of bowel preparations, but unfortunately we can't avoid doing the bowel preparation because we have to see inside the colon. The type I'm using is a low volume prep. It is a sodium sulfate based prep. The classic bowel preparation was a polyethylene glycol preparation, which is still a very good preparation and still in use, but it's a very large volume, and most people don't like drinking that much fluid. There are different types of preps out there, and so certainly you can ask your doctor about low volume preps versus high volume preps. There are also pill preps out there as well. Those aren't always recommended for all patients. You certainly have to worry about issues with kidney function and other conditions that your doctor needs to be aware of. So not every prep is an option for every patient. In addition, some insurance companies will restrict what type of bowel prep you can use. So have that conversation with your doctor. And once you choose a bowel prep, stick to the instructions just as they're written. Again, you want to make sure you get a good bowel preparation to not have a wasted procedure where you show up and things get canceled. And you don't want to have anything increase the risk that your doctor can't see well inside the colon and maybe misses a polyp because the bowel preparation was not clean enough and maybe there was still some stuff in there. So stick to the instructions and you'll be able to have a nice clean preparation. Okay, so I've got my colon prep outfit on, a nice comfortable shirt, easy on, easy off shorts. I'm going to stay close to the bathroom. My sleep may be a little limited tonight, we'll see. I'll update you on that. So I'm going to update the kit. It comes with instructions. I also got instructions from my doctor. And I'm just going to get started here. So step one is pouring one of these bottles into the cup. This is for this particular prep. Again, follow the instructions that come with your prep. And stick to what you're told by your doctor in their office. So I'm emptying this out into the mixing container. And there you go. As low of a volume as you can get. Add cold drinking water to the 16-ounce line in the container mix. I've heard it's a good idea to do this as cold as possible. And there's a line on this cup that makes it convenient. Step 3, drink all the liquid in the container. Cheers to a clean and healthy colon. It's sweet. They do that on purpose. It's not the greatest taste in the world, but it's definitely tolerable. I've heard people say they actually like the flavor of it. You have other people who have a lot of nausea with it. Seems like just chugging it is the way to go and trying not to focus too much on the taste. There's that. I'm not going to lie to you, it's not the yummiest thing in the world, but again, it's tolerable. And I got through it pretty quickly. And now step 4, which is labeled as important, you must drink 2 more 16-ounce containers of water over the next hour. I don't have a problem drinking water, and to tell you the truth, washing some of that sweet flavor out of the mouth probably isn't too much of a bad idea right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and chug this one. Obviously you don't have to chug it that fast. And then I got to do 1 more of these over the next hour, which shouldn't be very hard to do. and then we just wait for the fireworks to start. That's it for tonight for this prep, and so I'm going to use the bathroom probably frequently this evening, and then wake up early in the morning to do that same process again one more time, again to try and give my physician the best chance possible to see a nice, clean, healthy colon and catch anything that needs to be identified within the colon. So just a couple more things to keep in mind. You can have typically clear liquids up till 2 hours before your procedure, but you should certainly ask the main contact for your procedure on that and confirm how late you can have something to drink, but you certainly can't have any solid food or anything to eat still the day of the procedure until after the procedure is done. It's also very important to know that you need to have a ride to and from the procedure. There must be a responsible adult who accompanies you, who can drive or oversee your transportation and make sure you get home safely. So if you don't have a ride, you won't be able to go through with the procedure, and we certainly have had patients show up without a ride, and unfortunately we've had to cancel. Otherwise, we'll kind of go through the rest of the process tomorrow, and we'll go through the check-in process, getting ready for the procedure, show you some of the procedure, and then kind of follow through afterwards. Usually after the procedure you can eat whatever you'd like. It's recommended that you don't drive or have any alcohol or sedating products after the procedure, and usually the day after the procedure you can get back to pretty normal activity. Okay, so it's about an hour since I took the prep and I'm starting to feel the rumblings, so I'm going to have to get over to the bathroom now and start taking care of business.
Speaking of business, the first thing you'll do when you check in is make sure all your information is correct and make sure your insurance is correct, and then they'll walk you back to the preoperative area. You'll change into a very fancy gown with a nice cap, sign your consent, ask any questions that you may need at this point about the process. Usually there's a nurse helping guide you through this. You'll need an IV, and so they'll go through checking your blood pressure, getting access to your arm. There is the process of putting in the IV, which is a little painful, but something many of you have gone through before. I didn't flinch. I was a good boy. So this IV is important because it'll help give you fluids through the procedure, but it'll also make sure you get the medicine you need so you can be sedated and comfortable. Once that's in, the anesthesiologist will come talk to you, maybe crack a few jokes, check your heart, ask you any questions about your history with anesthesia. Your doctor also will come in and talk to you before the procedure. That's your last chance to kind of ask any procedural questions and any questions your family may have about the procedure at that time. So here we go. We're in the procedure room. This may be done in an operating room or a specific GI lab, as they might call it. There's staff there to help our doctor perform the procedure. This is my partner, Dr. Fisher. He's already begun, and so now he's at the start of my colon already, which is on the right side, and he is checking it. And you can see the prep here is pretty good. I'm actually seeing this today for the first time. There's some liquid contents in there, but nothing solid, and it's mandatory so that they can see the colon wall. And you can see I'm very comfortable sleeping there. Dr. Fisher is manipulating the dials here and trying to navigate through. This is the last part of my small intestine that he's been able to enter, called the ileum, and now we're back in the cecum, where the appendix is too. The little button thing at the top is the appendix. I've sped up the video, but now he's going to navigate through the entire colon, checking all the walls for polyps. He'll make some maneuvers through this, kind of makes it look like he's trying to be a rock star playing an air guitar, but again, this is sped up and much more boring in real time. There he goes, rocking it out. Usually the procedure takes around 10 to 15 minutes for most average normal colonoscopies. Some can be slightly longer, especially if there's more polyps to find. But now he's kind of nearing the end of the procedure, and then we get wheeled back to the recovery area where you wake up all happy and comfortable. And I woke up with no pain whatsoever, no cramping.
Okay, so I'm all done. I'm back home. Colonoscopy is complete. Everything went well. The drowsiness lasted very little time. Within an hour, I was more or less alert for the most part. I did go and eat something. I went and had a cheeseburger with my sister. Maybe not the healthiest food, but sounded good after a colonoscopy. I didn't have any problem eating, didn't have any pain. I did have some gas and bloating initially, and I did pass some gas, but I felt fine after that. Lasted maybe 20-30 minutes. So it was very comfortable. The report was good. In my case, there were no polyps. We had a nice clean prep, just so you know. So you saw the process, you saw what I went through, and that allowed me to have a perfectly clean colon without any concerning findings. So I don't have to wait for a report. I just have to recall for colonoscopy at the appropriate time. In some cases, there may be a biopsy or a polyp that was removed, and you need to follow up on those results. Usually the doctor will either call you with those results, see you in the office to discuss the results, or send you a report. Otherwise, I hope this process was helpful for you to see. I truly believe this was much easier than I actually thought it was going to be myself, having put many patients through it. I found it was pretty straightforward for me. I did not have any difficulty with the bowel prep, as you saw. The procedure itself, I don't even remember. You would remember it better than I did because you saw the video. I was out pretty quickly with the medication, very comfortable. I woke up very happy and relaxed and comfortable. And so this is not anything I have any reason to avoid in the future. And I feel much more confident recommending to people to go ahead and have their colonoscopy without fear. And hopefully watching this video will help. Certainly the other tests are still an option, and so stool-based tests that don't require an invasive procedure or CT colonography are still an option. And so any test is better than no test. And the most important thing is that you do indeed check your colon. Colon cancer is largely preventable as long as you take one of these steps, and we'd hate to see more and more people getting colon cancer because it's absolutely unnecessary in most cases. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope it was helpful. If you have any further questions or need any further assistance, reach out to your primary care physician, gastroenterologist, colon and rectal surgeon, or the American Cancer Society. And there's plenty of great resources online as well. But please don't avoid your colonoscopy, and hopefully this helps you move forward with confidence. Thank you.